I am not sure where we are. I'm not really sure whether I have managed to make us live. I'm going to have a look and see what I've done. Good morning, everybody. This is interesting. You can hear me, but you can't see me. Now you can, and it's 8 o'clock. We are recording. We're also in a bit of a no, it's not that messy actually. You can see my boots, and you can see my door, and you can see my other chair. But good morning. Just want to say good morning first of all, and I'd quite like to arrive. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm aware that I do this social media thing differently. I know that most of the time people come on and they're boo, boo, boo. They know what they're doing and they get on with it. And it's very tight. And that's fantastic. And I'm sure I'm going to get there. But I'm not there yet. And I'm not there yet because I'm just not keen on the idea. I'm sure the more it embodies and the more it becomes embedded and the quicker I can do it and the less planning it needs, then the more I'll be able to move into this. But until then, I'm just going to feel my way through it because I've found that forcing things often hasn't worked for me. So, good morning, I'm Mandy Jane Lace, and what I've realised this morning is that it doesn't matter what I've planned, actually, I can do what I like because this is our time. You are in Belonging in Business. We are being streamed, I think. It might just be on recording. We shall see anyway. We are definitely recording in some way. And either you are here now, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, or you are somewhere else. And if you're somewhere else, then obviously we haven't recorded this on social media yet. I'm not sure because I've got a new setup, so I'm just recording. So we'll see. It'll either be now or it'll be later, but it doesn't actually matter. So what are we talking about today? Well, the title is What is Lifespan Planning? And the reason it says lifespan planning is because we've been looking at that all week. Lifespan planning is a means by which I have facilitated change in all of the areas of an individual's life throughout the lifespan, whichever chapter I've been invited in on. So it hasn't mattered whether I have been in lifespan planning. It's never mattered whether I have been with a child, an adult, an older person, a group, a family, myself. There are certain characteristics of each area of life that Erickson talked about in lifespan planning. Lifespan plan theory that said that we each have a process by which each stage moves us into the next stage through a period of change, through a period of challenge, through a period of identity reformation. So each time we have a crisis of identity, we move into the next stage, whether that's childhood, adulthood, middle age, teenage years, our pensionable age, so over 65, or then Erickson talks about our demise, death, the inevitable, the thing we're all here to do. Yeah. So lifespan planning is about planning throughout the lifespan. And I've taken that so many stages further because I needed to apply lifespan planning to life. Yeah, not just how people might be, because Erickson talked about the normative of lifespan planning, of course. What is normal? What do we expect people to do? Well, I'll be honest, I haven't ever done anything that I was expected to do. I didn't talk at the same time as other people. I didn't ride a bike at the same time as other people. I spoke differently to other children. And my children were even more different. So my eldest didn't speak at all. Didn't cry initially. So we have elements in our family of neurodivergence, and what that means literally, typically, literally is neuro, mind, brain, or neurological circuit, way we think, divergent, different. We're neurally different. And that means that we have different responses to the stages of identity development. And that's not just me. That's not just my children. That's not just all of the people that are diagnosed in some capacity as dyslexic, dyspraxic, autistic, ADHD, CDC, as coordination developmental disorder, CDD. Anyway, it's a version of dyspraxia. There are so many labels, sticky labels, if essentially all can be placed under an umbrella of differently wired. So given that we're differently wired, the normative approach seems good only as a benchmark, right? Against which what we decide that this section of the population, this type of human, doesn't identify with. So that means that neurotypicality or the normative is just one substrate, one section of society. It's not the thing. It's not the de facto standard, because if it was the de facto standard, then everybody would benefit from it. Therefore, just because something is a majority, how can that actually mean, really, that that's it forever? Because our majority changes, like our Tory or Labour or Lib Dem or whatever the hell else there is, Green, or there's another one, isn't there? There's a very, very, very right one, I can't remember. Anyway, all of those, right, whichever flavour you are. Because tastes change, beliefs change, attitudes change. There is no change without change. So change is change, and we need change, right? Not change for change's sake, so change too often now. But change is inevitable. And if we go around saying that the normative is the de facto standard, what we all are, or what the majority of the people making the decisions are, and I don't think that's you or me. So I'm not talking to me or you in this regard. I'm saying that the people who make the decisions need to look like us. So we need to go and make the decisions. Okay. So given that we need to go and make the decisions, why can't I see us? Because lifespan planning is about enabling everybody to be facilitated. And I have met some incredible voices in my communities who are unsung, who are not lifted up, who are often systematically marginalized in order that that voice doesn't come into the agenda. And there's cherry picking goes on in all walks of life. And we naturally select, we're human. But when it comes to creating inclusion, which is a requirement of all humankind, then we have to think systematically, and we have to change things systemically. Otherwise, lifespan planning cannot reflect life, and life cannot reflect society, and society cannot reflect life unless there's a balance, unless everybody is present, unless there's a place for everybody at the table. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about today, which was the culmination of what is lifespan planning. And lifespan planning is attending to that person at the core of who and what and how they are and where they want to be and where they are now and where they've been. And that leads me on to a really, really important subject. We've got a segue. You know what I'm going to do, don't you? I'm going to raise your vibration. I've got one. I've got the high vibe tools with me. I'm gonna give us a spiritual awakening. It's Vex King again, and I'm very excited to say that this one is just it's powerful, it's powerful, it's powerful, it's powerful, it's powerful. I don't know why I'm doing that. Probably because I like looking at my own hands. Clearly, neurodivergents are us. So, without any further ado, we have Vibe 39. There was 39 steps on that. Somebody will have to talk to me about that. Post me a doodle. Oh, and thank you for posting. Do you know, the other thing about asking people to post is you could read them, MJ. Read them. Now, the only thing is, you know what that means, don't you? Now I know why people only go on one social media outlet. It's so they only have to check on Instagram, or they only have to check on LinkedIn, or they only have to. I have to check everywhere now. LinkedIn, Twitch. I'm going to have an entire army of people checking and then bringing me back the messages to say how amazing you are. No, the messages are amazing. Please do. I'm going to learn to check them, and actually, I really enjoy it. So please do it, because I really enjoy it. I don't know why I enjoy it, but maybe it's a thing I need to develop, an hour a day responding to my amazing humans that message me, because some of your stories are just beautiful. Please continue. Not sure whether I've opened the floodgates there. Anyway, 539 is your soul. Oh, I love this. Shall I do it now or shall I do it after? Your soul has a voice. So I hope you're sitting comfortably. This is the interlude before I tell you about the power of 3. The universe is guiding you through the voice of your soul. Your soul is the ancient you, the part of you that was never born, therefore will never die. It's the you that will continue on when your physical shell comes to an end. The you that has walked the earth many times before this incarnation. I don't know why I was going to say incantation. This incarnation. Although this is a bit of an incantation. I've got one at the end, actually. That ancient you has never left what we like to call heaven. It's multi-dimensional. So even though you're having a human experience, there's still a facet of your being in the heart of the universe. As you are an expression of the universe, universal intelligence is available to you in every moment. The realization that this information is actually within you gives you the opportunity to unlock it. Developing a connection to universal intelligence means developing a relationship with the voice of your soul. Hearing your soul is about acknowledging all of the feelings and emotions and conversations that arise within you. Through listening to yourself and being able to identify your ego, you'll be able to identify when your soul is doing the talking. Your soul's voice is timeless and therefore always fixed on the present. It's not attached to any outcome. It has no material needs or desire for gain, but always trusts that good is unfolding. The best way to nurture your connection to your soul is to create a regular space for it to talk to you. Instead of asking about a particular situation or asking a question, give it space to speak up and share what it feels you need to know. Because when you regularly listen to your soul, you open up to the unlimited support of universal intelligence. Vibe of the day. Use this prayer to tune in to your soul like a radio. I like this. Radio soul. Divine voice of my soul, thank you for revealing to me what I need to know. I am willing to listen. Then spend time listening. Quite important. The universe guides me through the voice of my soul. That's the vibe of today, your soul has a voice and my soul has a voice. We have a voice, and it's an important voice. The thing is, I have been grappling with the subject that I'm bringing to you this morning for some time. It's to do with lifespan planning. It's to do with the Magnificent Seven, the triad of areas of interest. It's the layering of Maslow's hierarchy of need, of systems and constellation development. All of this might make sense to some people somewhere, or all of you always, but it's a lot of different theories and models and practices amalgamated together. Amalgamated, there we go, there's no together. I do that in my essays as well, two words that mean the same thing. Amalgamated to produce what I see as the most effective, most inclusive, most interactive process by which an individual can make a choice and move forward, given the tools and information that they need to make those decisions. But when I have to look at where that comes from, and how I formulate that, it's interesting to see that I already have a theory beneath that. So I thought that the power of three, which is absolutely where this evolves, and 2 + 1 is 3, and 0, 1, and 2 are the primal numbers. That's all very important in numerology. I'm not going to go into it today, but the idea that we are all noughts and ones, and if you read any Bible or any religious text, God says, or the universe says, or the universal energy, or the universal laws, or whatever you call your God of your understanding, says that where two or more agree, exist, confer, collaborate, connect, then I am there in my name, when they connect in my name. And when we understand I am in complete and utter control of my experience, given my understanding and given my blindsidedness because of my trauma, currently in my current awareness, I am always totally in control of my experience, and my response to my experience, actually. My response to my experience, so forgive me. My response to my experience. So I wanted to talk about the power of three, and there's a reason I want to talk about the power of three. Because I've already talked about the fact that in lifespan planning, I believe that educational inclusion is the beginning. We need a supportive classroom environment for children to foster good relationships. We also need good play at home, and we need home and school to be interlinked seamlessly. So we spend time in our school environment with our family, and we spend time being schooly at home. So we don't need a regimented, segmented process. It needs to build and foster that process, resilience and emotional intelligence and social skills. That's the whole point of education, actually. But to do that, we also need, I think, in this day and age, or whatever you want to call it, at this point in history, I think we need a focus on individuals having some core understanding of psychotherapeutic approaches, of a trauma-informed lens, of understanding where this thinking comes from, not just what this thinking is, but where it comes from and historically where it comes from. People say to me, oh, I did an A-level psychology and it was terribly boring and I don't know why I needed to know about Freud and all that. Well, because they were the forefathers of our entire conceptualization. So, of course, you need to know. You might not need to know it as in depth as that, but you do need to have an understanding, yes. And I do believe that individuals that are dealing with individuals in any frontline service, and I don't just mean the police and etc. I mean people that are dealing with people in a traumatic way need to understand what being trauma informed is. So yeah, I believe that we need that, and I think that includes for ourselves counselling services. But I think counselling services need to be available at all stages in life, and at all times, available freely, because we have a peer-to-peer way of doing that. We can create counsellors by creating peer-to-peer opportunities. We can create counsellors by employing one counsellor and creating 10, 12, 15 in a school, in a college. We don't need to create counsellors just in a doctor's surgery. We can create therapists wherever we want to. We can all become our own therapist, actually. Oh, don't worry. It looks like we're not streaming, but we will be streaming very shortly. So, yeah, psychotherapy, I think. They are the ways, I think, that we're going to be able to have a supportive classroom. I think as a work coach for people who have disabilities like me, then I have to talk about the fact that this week I've looked at vocational training and job placement services, and of course the workplace accommodations that I facilitate for people every day of the week, because otherwise there is no full and equal participation in the labour market. And of course the budget this time has reiterated the fact that that's what this government is banking on the fact that the unpaid carers and the disabled people of the UK will save the day. Well, come on, let's go. If that's what we've got to do, that's what we've got to do, right? And if that means the welfare state's demise, then we'll have to create something else, won't we? There's always a new way. If what's not working isn't working, change it. There's no change without change, Leo. It's not working. It's just not working. So lifespan planning also means that we must cater for the third age. We're all getting older. We're all lasting longer. We're all living till, I saw somebody the other day, 113. Hallelujah. I can't wait to meet people at 120 and 30. I remember reading the Bible going, don't be ridiculous. It's nearly twice our age, and here we are. I can see somebody at 130 now being alive. I bet there has been 150 soon, 200, like tortoises. Be amazing. Ensuring a dignity and respect and quality of life in later years, however that looks. Getting lots of messages at the moment. But I'm not going to stop this because actually I don't mind whether we're streaming it or we're not. In lifespan planning then, our support networks are vital. And I will lead on to the three because we're actually talking about our personal needs, our vocational and societal needs, and then how we're supported by the people, so the systems, ourselves, and the people that are in it. The three powerful things that we require. And that involves family, where we can make it whatever that family is. It can be your Caras, your chosen family, as with me. Community services and healthcare providers have to address the holistic needs of all of people, because society is changing. So the themes in these stages that I've talked about this week, if you've been around, is inclusivity and accessibility, empowerment and advocacy and awareness. So helping people speak up, people speaking up about being included. It's an inclusive approach to supporting individuals from the beginning and across all stages of life. This has been Lifespan Planning this week, and we've also talked about the areas in which we practically help. So if you want to go back to those webinars, you can. If you want a link to them, please let me know. But I've been thinking about the power of three for the last 20 months, I think. Longer, maybe 21 months, 3 years, 21 months. Yes, cycles of 21 months is 21 months. Now, the power of three is not a regularly notable phrase. It isn't. The power of three is not something that I hear people going on about. They don't wake up in the morning and go, it's the power of three, MJ. They just don't. But if you think about families and you think about triangles, the triad relationship, the family dynamic of mum and dad and kid, or how we make babies and then raise each other. I think these triads being balanced can be crucial for our survival socially and physically and our own reproduction, right? And then when I look at three, so mum, dad, kid, I then think about God, okay? In Christianity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The divine completeness of a world, I would say, mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, spirit. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In Hinduism, the Trimurti, if I say it wrong, I'm so sorry to everybody. Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. The maker, the keeper, the breaker. It's a process, do you hear? In Buddhism, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha offers a path to enlightenment and spiritual liberation. The power of three, also for me, and it screams to my soul that it's the harmony, the balance, and the interdependence of each of these aspects of the divine that are important. The balance. In personal development, it's often learning, growth, and mastery. Do it, grow through it, become good at it. It's how we do it. It underscores that journey from novice to expert, doesn't it? All the way along. It's the same process. Consistent growth and improvement means showing up and being present and honest and authentic and who you are. And that's beautiful. Beautiful. Nurturing all three, the mind, as I'm learning here now, the body as I exercise every day. And the swimming pool is open again today. You don't know how happy I am. I'm just a mermaid. And spirit, as we have been talking about our own spiritual enlightenment. In inclusion, which of course you know that is who and what and how I stand for, and there's a link just beneath me as we are reaching our £10,000 and we'll shortly be deciding on that participant. I think there'll be some sort of voting. I think maybe we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure I like voting. I'm about to be voted for though, so we'll see if I like voting. I might love it. I've been nominated for a Women Changing the World award, culminating in me writing 2,500 words. Like, really? I didn't know you had to do that. So yeah, I wrote the 2,500 words. Interesting. And that was an extra assignment on top of my assignments. Anyway, it's done. And I'm going to post it in a minute once my friend and incredible colleague James has I can give you his link. He's a proof edit copy audio amazing human, does everything anyway, can get everything ready for publication. So that's what James is doing. James Priestley, if you want to find him, he's on LinkedIn. He's on my friendship link, and he's incredible. What a lovely gentleman. You really do want to meet him and his artist partner. Yeah, amazing couple. I am very grateful for the workfulness that we have managed to facilitate. So I am ready to post that up. So yeah, I'm going to be voted for. But anyway, the power of three. So I believe that when we recognize that our awareness of a situation means that we have a responsibility to decide whether we accept it or not. And when we accept that as right or true, and we know that in our heart, right, we know it right here, then our awareness means that we have a responsibility to action. When we recognize diversity and we value and embrace it, then we have to then make concrete efforts to support inclusion in practical ways. That's the action, yeah? So I believe that's at three levels again: community, individual, and society. We live in a world, in our small corner, and then we live in a wider construct, and each affects each. Well, so saith Bronfenbrenner in his ecological systems theory, and systems theory per se, which is broader than the ecological systems theory. The power of three, I think, is literally everywhere. It's in religion, and it speaks of spiritual connectedness of our personal development. It represents a balanced growth, and in inclusion, It highlights our comprehensive efforts to build a society that values and practices diversity and equality. Now, it's all right knowing it, it's all right having a theory of it, it's all right saying that, this is something I do, but how? Yeah, smart targets, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time-driven. Like, how do I do this? This was one of the critiques of lifespan planning and Erickson's stage theory, was that nobody kind of told anybody when to do it, which I think is interesting. This will happen at 9.3 years. Well, actually, none of my children spoke at the same time. I didn't speak at the same time as other people. Some people don't move till later. Some people never talk at all, but we've just found that many of them are hyperlexic. Oh, why are people surprised? They're secretly hyperlexic. No, you didn't ask. Didn't ask. So I think that the way to lifespan planning and the way towards progression and the way to get on the bus, your own bus, get on your own bus, will you? Make sure it's accessible, because one day you'll need it. We can identify 3 areas, can't we? And that's, again, here we go, 3 again. In personal growth, though, it's our people that I work with, you, me. The process that we're going under, lifespan planning, PIP, talking about that on Monday night at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock webinar, you can come. PIP, DLA, AA, attendance allowance, that's a triad as well. There's a triad of 3 income irrelevant, non-means tested benefits that are available for children and adults and older people. The 3 stages of life: child, adult, and third stage. The power of 3. In personal growth, it's mind, body, and spirit, of course, but it also is people, the process, and the technology and acceptance of action, and then I think applying that in a business context. To balance the triad is to win, because equilibrium and interdependence are vital components of balancing that triad. I mean, it's just like us, isn't it? When we nourish our body with exercise, that complements our mental health and spiritual practices and their well-being, and it creates a harmonious and holistic self-improvement plan. It makes a plan happen, and that's what we're looking for. That's why Erickson was critiqued, because we didn't tell people exactly when it would happen, so they had to decide for themselves. So that's what brings me on to, we need to check and readjust what our thinking is each time, so one doesn't overpower the other, because actually it's not about how fast we go or about how far we go. It's about how we balance the 3, the power of 3, and the power of tithing, let me say. So that's the power of the 1 and the 0, and being together with God and another human. The power of 3 and the power of tithing, 2 really important things that I would say. So if you haven't tithed yet, or you don't know where you want to tithe, please go and start. Down at the GoFundMe, go and tithe 10% of your income, and you will see miracles happen, is my experience. The power of 3. So I don't know, in each area, look at what you do each day. In my spiritual, I meditate, I use a sleep app, I use chakra aura cleansing, incantations. I attend to my spiritual well-being. I read spiritual texts, and I consider deeply my actions emotionally and spiritually every day. My body, I exercise in some way, whether it's TheraBands or it's swimming or it's stretching, it's broken yoga, as I was taught by a great friend of mine called Chris. And actually, he's the reason I have a yoga mat. He's the reason that I learned to get up and get down safely. So I move. The swimming pool's open again today. I'm so excited. And I learn new skills and retraining, further training as a social worker. Bringing a threefold approach to inclusion means that I am aware of the need for diversity. I accept that the situation is challenging. I'm on placements without a lift and the social workers are upstairs. People say in this day and age, and I say that's normal. But unless it's pointed out, unless I'm experiencing it, how can we ever identify that that's a reality for people? That acceptance in how the reality is, but knowing that we can change that by action. So that might be that I need to make workshops. I turned up yesterday at a civic lunch. I was the only wheelchair user there. When they asked how I could, because it was International Women's Day, how they could make the area more inviting to work in, I said, well, could I get into the front door and use all of the building, please? So I think it is about policy changes and creating opportunities for diverse voices to be heard. I received an email, acted on the email, action, put myself forward, and out of 250, I think, it's like that, there was about 50 of us there that were selected. This means, I think, in implementing our practices towards inclusion, aligning our team's objectives and strategies and execution plans around three things. And I think I can get better at all of them. But I know that I have to continue to clearly establish the roles and responsibilities. And I don't mean having a job description. I mean knowing people, knowing what they're responsible for. But having a culture that is constantly improving that and having no problem with those things evolving because they need to, because we can effectively communicate. And that's growing. People are growing in their confidence. That's fantastic. Because I have to regularly reflect on how I am and who I am and where I am and what I am. Because this life is growing for me. I haven't been in this particular situation ever before, where I am calmly navigating some incredibly large challenges with less frantic response than has been previous. When I do regularly reflect, and I have orchestrated reflection around me. I have a therapist, I have a coach, I have a mentor, and I have a professional membership mentor. So I can talk about myself as a human in therapy. I can talk about my learning with my mentor, who talks about the orchestration of the things I have to do, what dates are in when, and helps me strategize my diary and manage my time and look at what's good and chunk up my work and see if that's appropriate. We spend an hour a week doing that. It's very powerful. And then I have 2 hours study skills where I sit and go through my script with a coach who reads it to me, a teacher who reads it to me, and I hear the errors, and we talk about the formation of the paragraph and whether I've done a good signaling sentence, whether I've talked about what's in it, and whether I've closed my paragraph effectively and linked to the next. It's called Peel, make my point, evidence it, evaluate it, and link it, whilst I can tell you about it when it's about my script and I'm emotionally connected to it. Well, that's more difficult. And so I would argue with the Department for Education in that there was a time when they decided that a disabled student couldn't be a disabled facilitator, a disabled services facilitator. Well, of course, that's ridiculous, and they are. But the idea that I can't access disabled students' allowance while providing disabled students' allowance was something that I have a letter saying. Of course, that's changed now because it couldn't be more ludicrous, could it? That somebody had suggested such a thing. But I would suggest that we need to recognise that our skills often are our downfalls because they're the things we've worked on really, really hard. So I have masses of strategies for dyslexic students, and I have masses of ways of hacking a very discombobulated brain and a way of getting writing into a format that other people might be able to read and then putting it through somebody else because I often miss glaring errors. knowing your lane, looking to your strengths, but also celebrating your difference, because they are the things that make you the charismatic, beautiful, constructive, creative, evocative, beautiful, incredible creature that you are. And I'm talking to myself right now. And you, yeah? Each of us. Regular time for reflection helps me with that. I think that the power of 3 is just rife with dynamism. It's dynamic, right? It's ever evolving. It's flexible and it allows growth. So it's okay to get it wrong. Somebody said to me the other day, do you know, that I love the fact that I can get it wrong here. I'm all right with mistakes. Somebody else said today, oh, I only have 10 mistakes a day. I'm happy. Somebody else said, oh, I only have 6 major mistakes globally a day. He's a multimillionaire. I'm like, people are literally now going, I have loads of mistakes. I think there's a line. I'm not sure that if you've got catastrophic amounts of mistakes, that's showing you're winning. Shows you're learning, I guess. And just be mindful about how much learning you're doing. And also the opposite of that, right? Recognizing our achievements. I have been nominated for a Women Changing the World award now. If that world is a small portion of the world in terms of some people who now know about what's available publicly in the public domain. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a unique flavour of how to access it, what to do, and the ways to go, and the opportunities that we know about. And actually, more and more and more, I realise that it is the culmination of our experience that is the gold in this life. So I'm feeling quite rich right now. Because I'm old. Older perhaps than you think. I don't know how old you think I am. Not that it matters. It's irrelevant. But celebrating our successes reinforces those positive behaviours. If I feel stroked, I will behave better. I will. I'm just saying that to my university tutors. If you say, well done, I'll do better. I really will. Please, let's have some positive feedback. Let's have something that says, do you know, actually, you have this strength. This, I see this in you. I see this in you. What do you see in you? Let's talk about it. I think people need help at this stage in their growth about their identity as a trainee, because I think the professional development is hard. But what I've done, because I feel that's not lacking but difficult, particularly on placement when you're not at university then for a long time, and when you are, you're focused on one thing, like, you know, not being racist. That was a massive days thing, and the assessment process is brutal. Social Care Wales do expect an enormous amount of work in a very short space of time. As my tutor said, they expect you to do a full-time job while studying a full-time degree, and then you've got to live. And most of the time, social work's a second or third degree, second or third career as well. And that means that you can't access student finance. So effectively, that would say to me that social workers are generally second income. First degree, if they're funded, can be a single, but if you're second or third degree, you would have to be with a partner, and you would have to not need to work. So that means somebody that's financially fairly stable. And I wonder whether that's just a way of creating something. I don't know. Anyway. But that continued effort of engagement and reflection is really important. So what I've done is I've already did this ages ago, joined BASWA, the British Association of Social Workers Inclusion, the charity that you're raising funds for down there. Is going to be going to BASWA with their voice this summer. That's the second visit to inclusion to BASWA. We'll be going to Edinburgh, and that means that we will continue to effortfully engage. Right, so that's what's happening, and I think that then it's imperative in this process of inclusion that I share my journey, because my journey is my journey. And although I think somebody said to me this morning that they don't want the truth, I said, oh, I think people need it raw, and they said, oh, I'm not sure they're ready for it. Well, we'll see. I think that it encourages not only individuals but organisations to explore that power of 3 in their own life. You know, we are interconnected, whether that's ourselves, the things we're doing, or the environments we're in. We need growth, balance, and interconnectedness. All of those. Otherwise, things are not sustainable. Now, interestingly, I considered number 3 in terms of 3 numerologically. There we go. And it is associated with creativity, communication, and expression. So making it, saying it, and making it happen. The expression of it, the becoming of it. So create it, think it, say it, it comes. That the power of 3 is abracadabra, isn't it? Because we think it, we make it, and then we are it. 3 is linked to artistic expression and creativity. Actually, the power of 3 allows us to explore our imagination and artistic side and promotes originality and innovation. So we are innovative, and I'm aware that we've only got 15 minutes left. Those who resonate with number 3, and I do, I've always lived at 23. My house in Scarborough is 23. I lived at 23 Highfield. I lived at 23 Grosvenor Road. I lived all over 23, well, 4 times 2 and 3. And of course, there's one of me, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm a twin, 2. And I have 3 kids. 1, 2, and 3. Very, very, very powerful for me. So whether it's in writing or music or other forms of creative expression, screaming into the void. It's also associated with optimism and joy. It brings a positive outlook on life and an encouraging joy and enthusiasm, a sense of adventure. This optimistic approach helps individuals to overcome challenges and see the brighter side. So, optimistic. And growth and expansion. The unfolding of inner talents couldn't be more powerful, could it? The learning, the doing, the becoming of learning and development, being open to new experiences and knowledge, and then becoming. How to harness 3? Well, engage in creative activities like this. My becoming as a result of my note making, my writing, my reading, my studying, my creation is here. And that improves communication skills, the ability for me to come on here and talk to you naturally and comfortably and in a way that actually gives you some value, I hope, and also allows me to practice the art of expressing myself. A challenge for me because I am neurodivergent. It helps me with my conversations and my public speaking, which means that I can express that which I learn, helping me express my ideas and my feelings. And that creates a positive mindset. We decide how we feel. We really do. Joe Dispenza says, bring it up, lift it up, bring it up. What feeling do you want to bring? What do you want to bring? Come on, tell me. What do you want to bring? I want to bring optimism. So how good are you? How good are you? You are so good. I mean, come on. How good are you? How good are you? You know you're good. You know it. Look me in the eyes and tell me you don't know how good you are, because look how good I am. You are a reflection of me, and I am a reflection of you. You are incredible. See? Lift it up. You telling me you're not thinking about how good things are? Oh, I like that. I'm going to do that some more. I like this one too. I wonder if this one will work. Does it work on here? Yay! I'm playing. Fostering optimism. Especially when you're in difficult situations. Will it do it? I don't know whether it'll do it now. Or will it only do it once in a lifetime? Oh, no, it doesn't want me to. Yay! Isn't that interesting? Wow. Who knew? Embracing those social opportunities, engaging in community activities. I'm going to be coaching later. helping people get access to work, go to access to work, learn how to run the business, do the tax returns, connecting with an accountant, sorting out the social media, streaming on StreamYard, doing shorts, doing longs, getting a media campaign, getting a marketing campaign, doing the business plan. It's all so exciting. That's fun planning in action. That means that we can communicate those things again and again and again. And I'm fostering that communication with my coaching team, and they are ever growing and ever more fantabulous. And pursue personal growth. I do. Do you? How do you pursue personal growth? Because I pursue it relentlessly. I'll tell you what as well. We've got a social media. We've got a physical happening on the 29th of 29th of March. If you don't know what that is, DM me, because I'll let you know. Relentless with my personal growth. So, creativity, communication, and joy. The power of 3. People who resonate with this can enhance their creative expression, improve their interactions with others, and approach life with an optimism and an adventurous spirit. Well, I think that approaching life with an optimism and a relentless, confident spirit that says that we can overcome whatever it is that we're facing right this minute, because what we're facing is the battle, and the battle is the process, and it's not the outcome, because the outcome is irrelevant, actually, people, isn't it? Because it's the thinking up, the creativity, the learning to do it, is the process, and then you've done it. So the outcome's like the last bit. It doesn't actually. When I did the marathon, it was like, okay, good. Now I'm going to have to learn to celebrate the outcome. But actually, I think my attention of my soul is on the process, which is the imagination, the creativity, and the doing. The outcome is inevitable if the doing is completed, is it not? Whenever that happens, and although Erickson couldn't give us a definite day, week, month, year, actually why one would want to know that, I have no idea, because we're all different. So I'm not asking anyone to say she should have done this at this, or I'm not going to tell you that you should have or can or did or would have, because we're all individual, right? I think the power of 3 is a massive thing that we need to focus on. I truly believe that the mind controls the body, unless your body is controlling your mind, in which case you are responding to the screams of your system rather than the screams of your soul. Maybe you're responding to the environment rather than the screams of your psyche, because that's louder than the voice inside. Maybe your body is in such a discombobulated state, maybe it's so inflamed that actually you can't hear it. You can't hear your soul, because your body screams for attention because of inflammation, because of pain, because of fatigue, because of aches and pulls and pains. That's not a natural state of being. It's not. I think it's a state of being in high electrical frequencies. I think it's a state of eating overproduced food. I think it's a state of eating carbohydrate, like sugar, granulated sugar, those intensely formulated things. I think it's modified wheat. I think it's eating food that doesn't look like it ever did at the beginning. I think it's not sleeping enough. I think it's not having enough money to sleep on something that will help rest when we work so hard, because we're not meant to work so hard. I think it's a 5-day week, not a 4 or a 3-day week, and I think we have to move to that. I think it's people knowing that movement, 10,000 steps a day, movement to that equivalent, is an imperative. We weren't born to sit still. However you move, we weren't born to it. It messes up our cell function. It knackers the engine, and the engine runs the brain. Like what? So why do you think we've got loads of dementia? And we have. They're calling dementia the third diabetes 3. It's because we're not moving and because we imbibe alcohol and cigarettes and pollution and water that's filled with fluoride and trace metals and fish that are full of mercury. So what we eat, what we drink, I drink different water now, and I drink different coffee. I drink healthy coffee, the only healthy coffee that there is. I don't want to give up coffee. I don't want to. Caffeine's good. It's good in small quantities. And this caffeine doesn't give you the spikes or the sleeplessness. I've never been able to fall asleep instantly. My sleep scores will show you I fall asleep in 3 minutes. And I sleep the entire time, and I wake up as my alarm wakes, or a moment or two, a few minutes before, and that's it. And there's no question, because I've practiced it with an adaptogen. I didn't do it on my own. I've not managed it all my life. Now I have. So we are coming to the close of today, but we've talked about lifespan planning and what it is. We've talked about the power of 3. And I know that in some ways, in some spaces, I might sound repetitive, but what I'm doing as I repeat is I'm honing my attention to my intention. I'm honing my genuineness about what I'm saying. I'm stripping away that which I've read or heard or seen that's not mine. I'm creating my story. I'm creating my story because I'm sharing my story. Because when you share your story, then you inspire others. And I'm talking to you now. When you share your story, there are so many people around me that I want to share the stories of. There are so many people around me who I'm going to introduce to people who want to share their stories. We're in touch with a number of TV opportunities at the moment. And we're talking with a number of people who are just, well, beautiful. And I'd like to know what other opportunities are out there, because it's a whole new world to me and I don't understand it. So I guess I'm looking for an agent next. If anyone can tell me what that is and how you get one, I'd be grateful, because we need one, so that they can put us where we need to be going and help me formulate a plan. And I sound like I've got a massive coaching community, and I have. Excuse my tummy if you can hear it. It's time for breakfast. I look forward to these weeks. I look forward to these hours, and I look forward to your responses, and I look forward to working with you again. We are working with more and more people globally, all over the universe. Soon we're going to be on the moon, because I think we'll get to do moon training before I get to be on the tube. So inclusion is a given. If you want to donate, please go below. I've been MJ, and you've been in Belonging in Business, and it was planned to be at 8 o'clock, but I think it's going to be at 9, because I think what I've done is I've recorded this, but you weren't really there. And interestingly, I felt you all, because this has already happened and time is irrelevant. And actually, when we intend to do something, it will happen the way it's meant to happen. And when we control it, over control it, then often it's not okay. I've realized that going with the flow whilst having a plan and moving between those two states and keeping that equilibrium, that flow, that's where the magic is. So in the last 2 minutes, let's just revisit our spiritual awakening. Divine voice of my soul, thank you for revealing to me what I need to know. I am willing to listen. What have you heard today from your soul? Not from me. Doesn't matter what I've said. What's your soul said in response to these words that I've uttered, to this hour that you've spent, to this time that we've been? What do you need to know? Apart from that you are loved. And everything you need to know is absolutely inside you right now. And you can access it limitlessly at any moment. I promise you. Have the most fantastic weekend. I will be with you on Monday in MJ's house at 6 o'clock. We will then be streaming that room again at 8 o'clock on that day, and then again in the afternoon, just before inclusion at 7, and then at 8 on Monday. We are live, and you can come and share with us on StreamYard as we publicly have a webinar about something that should be everyone's public knowledge, which is DLA, PIP, and attendance allowance. So if you'd like to know about non-means tested benefits, so benefits that you can get as you get more disabled, as you get more chronic health conditions that's not means tested, that is available for everyone in the UK to apply for, then come on Monday night at 8 o'clock and take part in that StreamYard. You can ask questions, you can come, you can join in, you can come up on stage. It is Mother's Day tomorrow. Have an absolutely fantastic Mother's Day. All of you without their mums, don't forget to say hi to her in the universe, because she hasn't gone anywhere. She's just around the corner. You just can't see her, but it's only a short time before you will be together again. So love to you and your mums everywhere, and love to you, whether you're a mum or you're not. And if you're not, go and enjoy yourself, because you'll be the only one that's got time. And for those with mums, enjoy your kids. And for those with mums and kids that aren't talking to each other tomorrow in particular, don't worry, because it's not about tomorrow. It's about the whole of your lives. I love you lots. Have a great day.